We're gonna drop that on the floor first, like I usually do. What's up, guys? My name's Jonathan. This is my Canon, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cannoneer. Now today, instead of our regularly scheduled shooting videos, we got a video where we're going to be showing you guys how we make different types of projectiles for our Canon. We're going to be making some chain shot, some bar shot, and some grape shot, and we're going to be giving you guys a little bit of history about what those different types of projectiles are used for. So we're going to go ahead and head on over to the shop and get things preheated, get our lead pot warmed up and stuff like that to make those cannonballs with. But while we're headed over to the shop, if you guys haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below so you can keep up with all the cool future videos that we got coming out for y'all. Now, I'll go ahead and get over to the shop and get things preheated, and I'll meet y'all over there and we'll get to making some cannonballs. Okay guys, now that we're back over here in the shop and everything's nice and hot, our lead melter over there is nice and hot, our molds are nice and hot, we're gonna go ahead and start making some grape shot. Now, how we're gonna make our grape shot is using this. It's a 69 caliber bullet mold. It's basically a pair of pliers with a little ball in the middle of it, little ball mold, where you pour the lead through that little hole there, let it cool for a couple of seconds, and then you can open it up, and the already done muzzleloader ball will fall out. Now, these are for making 69 caliber muzzleloader bullets for a Charleville musket, but we use these for grape shot out of our cannon. So let's go ahead and make a couple of these. Over here, our lead pot's nice and hot. Put it right underneath the little spigot there. Open up the spigot, just pour some lead in, and let that cool for a couple of seconds. And then you can open it up, and right there is our nice finished muzzleloader ball. Make a couple more. Now they're super hot, so you don't want to touch these. Let them cool off, and open up the muzzleloader ball mold, and there you go. Make one more. Let it cool. Pretty simple on how to make these. You can make a bunch of these really, really fast, which is nice. Open it up and just knock it out of there. So that's super easy on how to make these, and we'll bring you guys in for a closer look on how we make our grape shot. So we're gonna take our bullet mold here, and we're gonna put it right underneath our lead pot melter here on the spigot. Pour some lead out into our mold. Let it cool. You can see the color change on top of there as it solidifies up. And we open it up, and there's our completely finished 69 caliber muzzleloader ball. And just knock it out of there. Make a couple more. These are super easy and super quick. Let it cool. And you can just knock it on out of there. Super, super simple, super easy, super quick. And you see they've got these little sprues attached to them here where they come out of the end, the little funnel part there. The nice part about this bullet mold is it's got a little sprue cutter there, so you can grab one of these balls when they cool down, put it right there and snap that little sprue off, and then you can knock the sprue back in there and use it again for some remelted lead, which is super neat. So that's how we make our grape shot balls. Okay guys, now that our 69 caliber muzzleloader ball is cool enough to handle, I'm gonna go ahead and clip the sprue off. So I've got our bullet mold here with the sprue cutter on it. I'm gonna put the little sprue right in the end there and give it a nice snip, and that's how you finish your 69 caliber muzzleloader balls. So now that we've got a bunch of these made, I'm gonna go ahead and clip the sprues off of them, and then we'll start making our chain shot. Okay guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and make some chain shot. So for making chain shot, the way that we do it anyway, you're gonna need one of our cannonball molds here. I'll go ahead and link in the description where we got that. You're gonna need a piece of chain, you're gonna need a lead pot, and you're gonna need a ladle. Now I've gone ahead and preheated everything here, our ladle and our cannonball molds, because you're gonna need to get these a little warm so the lead just doesn't instantaneously solidify inside of them. You need just a little bit of time to work. So chain shot they would have used on sailing ships back in the day, and they would have loaded these in the cannon, and they would have had half a cannonball on one side and another half a cannonball you guys will see in a second, or a full cannonball on either side, and they would have shot these out of the cannons at the sails and the mast of sailing ships in hopes that this chain would rip its way through the sails and tear those sails to bits so they could potentially capture the sailing ship intact without having to sink it or kill everybody on board. They could just disable its way of sailing away and getting away. So we're gonna go ahead and make some chain shot here. I've got my pre-cut chain, everything's preheated, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my gloves on because this is gonna get really warm. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna put some of our lead into our preheated ladle. So we're gonna go ahead and fill our ladle up here with quite a bit of lead. It's gonna take just a second because we're gonna wanna do this in one fell swoop. It's kind of hard to get and work underneath the lead melter with our cannonballs and hold the chain and all that kind of stuff. So we use a ladle for this kind of thing. It just makes your life a whole lot easier. So now that I've got a good bit of lead poured into our preheated ladle, I'm going to take our chain, we're going to come over here to our preheated cannonball mold, and I'm going to hold it just like this and pour the lead on top of it. And that will hold that cannonball, hold the chain inside the cannonball as it solidifies. And you can see it set up there. And it's getting nice and solid in there. And once it solidifies, I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of there. And that's our completed side, or half of side anyway, of a completed chain shot. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and get some more, I'm going to drop that on the floor first like I usually do. Get some more lead preheated, and then I'll pour the other side of this mold, and I'll bring you guys in for a closer look while I do that. Okay guys, as our lead pot here is filling up, these types of chain shot were really just kind of shot at the riggings of ships and things like that to try to tear apart the ropes. They're not quite as solid as the bar shot that we're about to make. So these things flex around, they fly around a lot when we shoot them out of the cannon. So as they fly through the air, they're going to tear apart whatever they hit, and that's hopefully going to be riggings of a ship, sails and stuff like that. So that's really what these are for. They just fly around, and as they're flying, they melt stuff in the air. So I'm just going to let that sit there, let it solidify up. Perfect. And that is our completed chain shot. Put the ladle down. That's our completed chain shot right there, ready to be shot out of our cannon and knock apart some sails out of a sailing ship. So that's pretty awesome. Okay guys, now we're going to be making some bar shot, which kind of, as the name implies, uses a bar in between the halves of the cannonball instead of some chain. Now this is basically for the exact same thing. You'd shoot this at a sail or a mast of a ship, but this was a little more solid than that chain, and this was kind of more meant to rip through the sails, meant to rip through the mast kind of more than the sails, just to rip through stuff and tear apart the mast, tear apart the rigging of that ship to disable it, so once again it wouldn't be able to move, so the sailors could just take the ship over and capture the people on board and capture all the cargo on board, and they wouldn't have to worry about sinking the ship. So it's really what these things are meant for. So once again, I've got everything preheated over here. I've got my ladle preheated, I got my cannonball molds preheated, I got the lead pots preheated. Go ahead and put my gloves on because this stuff's really hot, and we'll make a bar shot. Now, this is basically the same as making our chain shot over here. We're going to fill up our ladle here and get it nice and full with some lead. As that fills up, we can watch it go. It's just nice and shiny lead. As it solidifies, like I mentioned, it gets a nice kind of a stainless steel look to it, not very shiny. It gets a more matte finish to it. So now that I've got a nice ladle here for it, come over here to our cannonball mold. We'll put the bar dead center in the middle, and we'll pour our lead around it, just like that. Let it solidify. As it gets that nice matte finish to it, pull it out, and we've got 1/2 of a bar shot. So I'm going to get our lead pot refilled, or get our lead ladle refilled here, and we'll make the other half of that bar shot. Okay guys, now that our lead's nice and melted again, I'm going to go ahead and refill our ladle up so we can finish making the other half of that bar shot. Get a nice ladle full of melted lead. Let it keep going. And perfect. We take our bar shot here, the other half, put it over here, dead center in our cannonball mold in, pour the lead around it. And it'll solidify up pretty quickly. You guys can see it's already holding itself. Pour our lead back in here. And it's done. And we have a completed bar shot. One total bar shot, completely ready to go and be shot out of our cannon to take down the riggings of a sailing ship. Okay guys, we'll bring you in for a little closer look on how we make our bar shot here. So we got our lead pot all nice and hot and melted. So we're gonna go ahead and fill our ladle up with some nice melted lead. See how nice and shiny it is there, nice and melted. Let it fill up a good amount. And while it's filling up, you guys can see I've already cut our bar there for our bar shot, sitting right next to it. It's just mild steel. So now we've got a nice full ladle. We'll come over here to our cannonball mold, put the bar in the middle, and pour the lead around it, just like that. You guys can see it'll hold the bar there itself. I'll pour a little liquid lead back in there. And it's already solid, and we can pull it right out of there. And that's 1/2 of our bar shot, ready to go. Now we'll go ahead and make the other half. Okay guys, let's go ahead and make that second half of our bar shot. Let's get our ladle filled up here with some nice melted lead. Remember, I already preheated everything, so everything's nice and hot. Keeps everything liquid a little while longer, which is nice. Easier to work with and a little while longer to work with it. So now we got our nice hot lead here. I'm gonna take that other half of the bar shot that we just finished and put that in our cannonball mold, nice in the center, and pour the hot lead around it to finish off the other half of our ball, just like that. Let it cool for a couple of seconds. It'll hold itself here. Pour our liquid lead back in there. And now we have a completed bar shot. Well guys, that was pretty fun. I really enjoyed making those different types of projectiles, and I'm really excited to see what happens when we get to shoot them out of our cannon here. Now, we haven't really decided if we're going to try to replicate some sails or something like that, or if we're just going to shoot these at some ballistic gel or maybe some watermelons, just to see what happens and see how deadly those things would be if you were to get hit by one of them. Now, if you guys have a preference on things that you want to see us shoot those projectiles at, go ahead and drop them down in the comments below, and we'll hopefully try to figure out how to do that for y'all. Now, while you're down there, if you have any other ideas about things that you want to see us shoot with the cannon or things that you want to see us shoot out of the cannon, leave them in a comment down there too while you're there, and we'll hopefully get those out for a future video for you guys. Now, once again, my name's Jonathan. This is my cannon. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Cannoneer, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.